Welcome to PHP Podcast. I'm Mike.
And this is Orlando, and this is an update episode number 297.
Yeah, 297. We are closing in on 300, but we're going to enjoy our 200s here as we are getting close to ending this chapter of PHP Podcast and moving on to the 300s, which will be just like the 200s, just newer and
a little special,
more modern. But yeah, today's an update episode. We love our update episodes because it's our opportunity to talk about what's going on in the reselling world at large, what's going on in the reselling world individually, like what we're experiencing, talk about some BOLOs and kind of things that we're looking forward to. So yeah, we love these. These are a ton of fun. Yeah. What do you got for us?
Well, I got a lot. I will say, the last podcast, hey, I didn't say it right. I'm going to work on that.
I'll just do tally marks for you so you'll know.
So when I first started teaching, I had students do that. They would show me at the end. And
that didn't work?
And no, obviously, it's been 20 years since that first happened. So it's been, I also say so a lot. It's been an interesting week. I had mentioned in one of the Instagram stories that, you and I had this conversation and I said, Mike, I'm going to climb down. I'm going to make this happen. Summer slowdown isn't happening. And you said, well, isn't it still a summer slowdown if you're working harder to make the same kind of money?
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that's valid. I think that's correct. At the same time, though, I kind of see it as challenge accepted. Like, I'm not going to have a summer slowdown. Like, I'm not going to let it happen.
So what you're saying is you're not going to make less money in the summer.
Correct.
But it's still slower in the summer, unless you're in a very unique niche. And I think that's what people are trying to say with that idea of summer slowdown is it's hard to say it's a myth because the reality is in almost every retail sector, sales go down in the summer.
I'm just going to say, well, that's your truth.
No, that's numbers. That's statistics.
No, but I have not had a summer slowdown. And yes, did things die? I would say they died for about 2 weeks and things did rebound. Now, why did it rebound? Don't know. That's the one thing that's just hard about this, because if you see all those YouTube videos like make more sales, do this, there is really no answer. Now, can I confess that I went on overdrive as far as listing? Yes. So I was trying to pull, 15 to 25 listings every night, sometimes 30. And the sales did start kicking in. There were a few days where I had 30 listings up in the day. And the next day I got 2 sales. And I'm like, okay, this is not working. But sales have rebounded. And, how long that I'll go for, I don't know. All I know is I'm not, taking the foot off the pedal. Just because right now, what's motivating me more outside of not being able to pay bills and ended up having to, talk about pure hustle poor is the fact that sourcing is insane right now. And we haven't even hit, I would say, the bottom of our economy. And maybe we won't. Maybe there won't be. Maybe Mike and I are dead wrong and things are going to be sunshines and butterflies in a month. I just heard the press secretary just say we have a booming economy. So who knows? But what I do know is opportunities right now are just stacking and stacking and stacking. I recently sourced a bunch of Hawaiian shirts, rain spooner shirts. Those of you that follow on Instagram saw that. And last time I bought that same amount of shirts, I bought about 23 shirts, cost me about $300 something. This last go around, it cost me $200. And the reason being is, I was real with them and I said, hey, just give you a heads up. Market's not what it used to be. Rain spooners aren't selling, for the same price, which is true. And they also needed to sell. And so here's what's crazy. They messaged me because I left my business card and they put it on their fridge. And then they contacted me, which was like, yes, it works. I always love it when the business card works, you feel validation. And then after thinking about it, I actually canceled. And I said, I don't know. And the reason I canceled is I'm being a lot more selective on what I source because there's so much to source. And so then they actually called me and they're like, Orlando, you should just show up. Just come on by. And these guys are awesome. They're very knowledgeable on Hawaiian shirts. They're collectors. They have a great collection. And they sell basically because they want to buy more. They want to buy different ones. And so I was like, all right, I'll show up. And we both had the agreement that no one's going to get hurt if one of us just says, no, can't do the deal. And I was expecting to just shoot the breeze, maybe buy a couple of things. And next thing I'm buying, 23 shirts for about $220, which to me was a fair deal. And these guys are awesome. I said, this is how much you can pay. This is how many shirts I want. You guys choose the shirts that you want me to buy. And I had just put it, and I don't know if that was a good negotiation tactic, but they put in some nice shirts in there. And so I'm going to do really well on that. But the reason they did that is because I think they want me to come back. Mm-hmm. And so, within a month, I'll be going back and I'll be buying more inventory. And so what's been motivating me to list and continue trying to make more money on eBay is I want to have that capital to go to keep buying and to keep buying and to keep buying, because I do believe when things rebound, if you have a healthy inventory and you have, a good amount of inventory, and again, you want to be inventory light right now, you want to sell as much as you can sell. But if your profit is definitely outpacing how much you're sourcing, you're going to be in a good place. All right. So for example, I've been at garage sales where I spent, let's say, $100 and I've already made $300 to $400 on that haul. And I still have another 1,000 to make. It's okay if it's I already made my money back. I already made profit on it. And so that's my hope, that I can keep listing and keep being profitable, and that I can keep sourcing. So local deals have been great. And I've just been listing like crazy. And so that's pretty much, I got more to say, but we'll talk about that later. How about you?
Yeah, that's good. So I've had an interesting couple of weeks with reselling. I've basically picked up 2 new niches. Now, not hardcore. I'm by no means an expert. It'll probably take years before I'm an expert in either of these, if I decide to pursue them. However, and in fact, we have a podcast, a Monday mini episode planned coming up next Monday, where we're going to talk about how to get into new niches. So it kind of plays into that. But so I was going to a friend's house after work one day, and because I live so far away from the city that I work in and where almost everybody else lives, when I get off work, if it's like an hour and a half early, I just have to kill time in town. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to drive home, because by the time I get home, I'm turning around, if I can even make it home in time before I have to turn around. So I'm like, I'm going to kill some time in town. What can I do? Oh, there's a thrift store over by my buddy's house. I'm going to go over there and spend, 20, 30 minutes in this thrift store before I head over. So that's what I do. I go to this thrift store and I'm looking around, and it was really bad. And typically thrift stores, at least in our area, kind of the where I would rank them is Goodwills tend to be the nicer-ish.
Oh yeah,
as far as like they look, boutique-ish. And then you've got below that, you've got some of the other ones. And then there's like Salvation Army. And then sometimes even below that, not always, but kind of below that is like the veteran ones. Depends. Some Salvation Armies are nicer than the veteran ones. Some of the veteran ones are nicer. But man, this one was it was pretty bad. It was not really nice inside. So I do like my walk around, and I don't really find anything, and I don't want to go through clothes. I don't want to spend 30 minutes going through clothes, just because nothing's organized in this store. It's pretty musty. I don't want to touch any of the clothes. I'm like, I'm just not doing clothes today. So I walk over and I'm like, what am I going to do? There's nothing in the categories I normally am sourcing. And I see an entire row of glassware. And I'm like, I've sold some glass before. So I'm like drinking glasses. So I'm like, I'm just going to look at these. And what I did is I decided I'm going to look through and I'm going to pick up a bunch of them. And I'm going to look for like the nicest looking ones, the ones that are like heavier, the ones that are a little bit better built, the ones that aren't just like cheesy logos, things like that. So then I'm like, all right, I've got these ones right here, definitely nicer. And then so I started looking at the bottom of them. Sometimes you have to look through the top and find the brand. And then I started looking them up. And some of them are like whiskey glasses. Some of them are pint glasses. Some of them are just like nice crystal glassware that people use for drinking water, sodas at their dinner table. And it was amazing because I probably only spent 15, 20 minutes going through these. But my goal was, I'm just going to pick every single glass up. And some of them, you don't have to pick all of them up because some of them are like sets, Okay. But I'm basically going to go to every single set and I'm going to feel, is this like a high quality glass? And if it feels high quality, I'm going to look it up. And it was amazing to me because these glasses were, and this might even be expensive for this quality of a thrift store, but they were under $1 each, which sometimes you can pick them up and it's 50 cents each, some thrift stores, but it was not bad. 95 cents per glass, something like that. And within 15 minutes, I had like 10 pieces and well over $100 in profit, like probably like $150 in profit. And I only spent like $10.
That's pretty awesome. And you learned.
I learned something, and not enough. Again, like I would never say I'm an expert in glassware now.
No, but you're making your way.
Yeah. So now I'm like, okay, I know like 2 or 3 different brands that are decent enough to pick up.
And you learn how to ship them too, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, I've done that before. I mean, the nice thing is I'm not learning brand new. I've shipped lots of.
You're an expert in floating the box.
Yeah, floating them boxes. But it was just kind of cool to see like, hey, this is normally something I would never touch. But if I do that a few more times and really learn a couple more brands, a couple more things, if every thrift store has close to $100 in profit sitting on their glass section, and it's not that much, work to go through it, a little bit harder to store, a little bit harder to ship, but I've done it enough. I don't feel, uncomfortable with that. It's like, man, this is like, I've just been letting money sit there. And not that I would go there first by any means, but if there's nothing else, it's nice to know, I'm going to go look at the glassware and see what's there. So that's kind of cool. Just a way to kill about a half hour and learn something. And then the other thing, I kind of stumbled upon this almost accidentally. So I was looking something up. It's coming up on Father's Day. In fact, is it Wednesday? When are
it's
we
the 19th. Is it usually?
Yeah. So it's this coming Sunday is Father's Day. And so Father's Day is coming up. My birthday is coming up right before Father's Day. And so I'm like, all right, my wife wants to know gifts for me. So I'm looking things up, and being the guy is always getting into hobbies, I'm looking up some new things. So I find something that I'm like, oh, this seems pretty cool. I want this. And I know I've seen these before at like TJ Maxx or Ross. I'm sure you can probably, find it. I bet they're cheap on Amazon. Holy cow. I'm watching a couple of YouTube videos of people saying like, and I'm not going to give it away because this is a niche I'm getting into for sure, especially as we move into Father's Day. And I'm looking it up. I find the one I want. And on Amazon, this product normally goes for like $30, $35. They're selling for close to $100. And I'm like, what is happening? So then I check eBay and I'm like, why are the prices so high? Like people are talking about them on YouTube right now. So maybe that's why. Yeah. But then I'm like, this is a major Father's Day gift. It has to be like, I can imagine a lot of fathers would want something similar to this. So I'm thinking, holy cow, something that throughout the normal time of the year goes for $30 is selling for close to $100 on eBay. And like I said, can be sometimes found at places like, Ross or TJ Maxx. So to think like, whoa, I just found a new BOLO for a time of the year. And we talk about that a lot. Like there's times to buy certain toys. There's times to buy certain types of items that are going to sell well. And to now know like, hey, I've got my summer item. I know it's going to sell well in the month of June every year. And it's going to sell for, I'm going to be able to easily go. And the nice thing is this is like a retail flip. Normally I'm doing like thrift stores and garage sales. But now that I've got a thrift store or a retail BOLO flip, I'm just so super excited. I cannot wait until next Father's Day when I can jump on this like a month or two in advance and then just cash in.
So let's land here for a little bit because I'm sure there's going to be some people saying, why are you not talking about it?
Because I put a lot of work in finding this.
Okay. All right. Not just that. Because I want to be real. I got to say right now, I feel we're getting more hate than usual. Right. And I think it's just a lot of people do not understand reselling. And so we haven't talked about this in a while, but I wanted to land here because I wanted to just touch base on the idea that if this was something you found at the thrift, no problem sharing.
Yeah,
correct?
Sure, no problem.
Found at a garage sale, no problem sharing. Found in a bin, no problem. But if it's retail, the reason why Mike can't share that is because the access is far easier. And all it takes is, out of the 11,000, 12,000, whatever listens we get of this episode, it just takes a handful of people to kill the market. Yep. Right. And so we always honor and respect those individuals that do Amazon retail arbitrage and private label and so on, because that's a whole different ballgame. Now, if you're like, hey, before Father's Day, if you can find, this kind of baseball hat from this team.
Yeah, or like old vintage ties. Yeah, or like
that's
goofy
different,
ties.
Right? But when it's retail, and so I want people to understand, like this isn't, Mike trying to be selfish or Mike, hiding stuff. I mean, we're open.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm selfish, but yeah, when it's a retail,
I appreciate you saying that you're not perfect.
Yeah, you gotta own your flaws.
All right. Anyways, I just wanted to land there because it just, maybe it's just getting like this, because things are just getting tense, right? Economy and reselling has been kind of down here. And
and I've talked about that in the past too with other things. Like I'm surprised it took me so long to find this because like Mother's Day, I've talked a lot about Mother's Day being a BOLO time for me when it comes to like arts and crafts or like, again, usually it's vintage stuff that I'm picking up. There may be retail for this, but like the stuff where the kids make the plaster handprints or things like that. Kids paint stuff for their moms. Those kits that I'll find at garage sales, I always kind of save or will put Mother's Day in the title when it gets close to Mother's Day. And there's a good chance they flip around them or like cute scrapbooking stuff that has to do with like family or things like that. Those tend to, I'll just put Mother's Day. So I have no problem saying like, that's a good thing to do, or here's a specific thing. But yeah, when I'm really excited because
Mike hasn't even told me. So.
Yeah, I'm excited because I've not found many like replenishable retail flips, mostly because I'm not doing that. Like I for the most part do garage sale thrift stores. So I have no problem saying, yeah, pick up the Cricut, pick up the, whatever, this type of toner, I have no problem saying those things because, I only see one every 30 thrift store trips that I go to. Yeah. But yeah, this is, and maybe this doesn't work. Maybe this is a fluke, this 1 year thing. But I think I've got
TikTok
something
trend.
Maybe. But I think that this might be something. And again, it's a short period of time. Like I really think I'm only going to have like a 2 to 3 week window to flip this item, but that's almost like a Q4. You've got a short period of time, load up, take a little bit of a risk. And the nice thing is if it doesn't sell this Father's Day, it'll sell next Father's Day. So yeah,
that's a long way, but yeah, I get it. Hey, before we move on, I just want to let you guys know that there's a great opportunity in our Discord just to grow in a community. If you haven't signed up yet, just go to our Patreon. That's patreon.com/PuresPodcast. There's a link below. And it's been, growing and thriving. It's just, what I like now is that we have like off topic sections. And we've had some weird stories being shared, I'll just throw one out there, like people finding camcorders with tapes in them. And we'll just leave it at that. But it's like, it's fun. It's not, again, we're not a cook group. We're not a BOLO group, but there is so much BOLOs that are shared and so much stuff to learn that it's an amazing group. And again, I love the opportunity that I can just jump in there, have a great time. I like, this is the idea of the Discord is Mike's original idea. Like, let's just have a community. Let's not do a BOLO group where it's, dependent on us always sharing this, sharing that, because again, the beauty of a community, and I say this all the time with social media or just getting to know other resellers in your area, is that even though, there might be some competition, there's plenty to learn from each other. And that's what happens in our Discord. So check us out again, patreon.com/PuresPodcast. Sign up for that Patreon and then you'll get the Discord invite.
Yeah.
All right. So random stories.
What do you got for us?
So I don't have anything huge. There's just been random. I'm getting messages from just buyers that are really irking me. Maybe it's going to be a rant session. But I feel more than ever, I'm getting somebody accepts an offer and then they message me and then they say, hey, can we do this free shipping? And it's like, well, no, I already accepted this offer. Or I get hey, can I pay in 3 days?
They're pulling a bait and switch on you.
Oh, all the time. So I actually stood my ground on this last one. I was pretty annoyed. Somebody wanted a vintage jacket 2 weeks ago. And they said, hey, would you be willing to do $140 plus shipping? I said, sure, no problem. And I love it when they message me because eBay still hasn't fixed the automatic pay. And we'll talk about that later. And so I revised, the listing, and then they said, oh, but can I pay tomorrow? And I'm like, all right, fine. Just message me tomorrow and I'll fix it. Ghost me. Doesn't do anything. So I change it. And it bothers me when I do that because my store usually is on sale. And if I'm not careful and I don't switch it back to the original price, it's going to put the sale price on top of the revised price. And I get a message a week later and they said, hey, by the way, can I still buy that jacket for $140 plus shipping? But except actually, can we do $140 free shipping? I'm like, wait, is this what? Like, you ghosted me and now you're asking for a favor. So I said, no. It's a price. It is what it is. And it's at like $200 plus. And he said, oh, all right, fine. I'll just pay the $140 plus shipping. And I almost felt like lecturing them, like telling them, hey, how about you get some integrity and then come back? But I didn't say that. I just said, no, sorry, can't sell it at that price. They said, how about 150 plus shipping? I'm like, no, sorry, can't sell it. And they're like, well, what's your lowest price? I'm like, the price that it is. And then that's it. And then I blocked them. Now I thought I blocked them already, but I guess it didn't. I don't know. They didn't save or something. But I've been getting a lot of the, hey, can I pay a few days later? Which I don't. And usually I don't say no. But this time and again, I think it's a sign of the economy that a lot of individuals are doing this. Now, I do think things are going to change in the fact that once eBay mandates automatic payments, as they've promised, which I'm not 100% sure they're actually going to come through on this, and I'll talk about this during our reseller topics. But when I was talking to somebody I was buying out their inventory, they had mentioned me that there's apps now that you can pay the app, and then the app will pay whatever company is, and then they can pay back the app within 4 installment payments. Right. So it's like way the other way. And that's an old practice, but now there's apps that do that. And I wonder, if that's going to be something that people, hopefully eBay links to. So instead of us having to deal with the collection, instead of eBay having to deal with the collection, this third party deals with the collection. Because right now it's kind of, it slows down. And that's one thing I wish eBay would understand is that whenever we deal with non-payers, it does take time. Right? You have to message the buyer, and then you have to decide whether you're going to cancel it or not. And then, sometimes eBay, when you say relist for free, they double relist it. I mean, that's happened multiple times. Or then you got to deal with messages. It's just a major, major problem. But again, I always advise everybody, best customer service. You never know. And again, I do think we're going to get a wave of, this is how much I can spend. I can spend no more. And you just got to make that call. Is it worth it to you to just get that sale and trigger that algorithm? Or is it really worth a lot more? Or is it an integrity thing? If you ship it out to this person that didn't tell the truth the first time, what's the chances that they're just going to end up claiming an INAD or wanting a return and so on? So I've been dealing with that. And the positive thing, I shared this on Instagram. Those little babies. All right, let's talk about the little babies that I sold. Yeah. And this is weird. Like a 42-year-old man, I think it's weird talking about this, but
yeah, let's qualify what you mean when you say you sold little babies on eBay.
So I was going through. I had this haul, and in it was vintage Legos. And as I'm going through the Legos, I'm finding these little toy babies, like tiny, like maybe half an inch.
Yeah, like size of like a it could fit on the back of a pencil, like it's like a racer type size.
Yeah, even smaller than that. Some of them were that size, and some were smaller. And so somebody had mentioned that they look like the ones you get from the 25-cent machines that roll out. And so I didn't know what they were, and I found about like 15 of them or something. And I looked it up on eBay and I called them little Hasbro babies or something like that. And I'm like, okay, I guess it's this. And so I listed them and they sold within hours for $30. Yep. Okay. I thought they were trash. I mean, it felt awkward because you had to like position them and it just felt weird, right? Because it just felt weird. So it sold and I posted on Discord and people are saying, oh, those are baby cakes. I don't even know what that is. And then I thought they were vintage, and then Mike goes, yeah, I confiscate these from students all the time. Yeah,
there's like a thing going around my school where the kids, and I'm a middle school teacher, and they get them in all different colors too. Originally, it started with just like the regular skin tone colors, but now there's like blue and purple and green and all these other colors. And kids are playing with these little babies all the time. They trade them, they give them to each other. Is it a thing? Well, it's not like a thing to collect. It's just like they think it's funny to like leave them places. Like they'll leave one on somebody's desk, and you're like, oh, what's this?
So is this like a BOLO here?
Well, I don't think.
Keep an eye out for tiny little baby toys.
Well, here's the thing. Like, so the little babies, I think for the most part, a lot of them are almost like you could probably get it. What's the Oriental Trading Company? Okay, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not that they're all expensive. So the ones you sold were probably vintage Hasbro. Like, so they're it's probably more of a specific BOLO. You mentioned baby cakes. I think there's a thing, isn't it? Like it's connected to
it's a TV show or something, isn't it?
No,
let us know in the comments because I'm still lost. I don't know what I sold.
I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it has something to do with the like what's the New Orleans festival that they do, the
Mardi Gras.
I think there's like a cake that you eat, like a king cake or something, and whichever slice that has the baby in it. I could be wrong, but I think this is the thing. They put a baby in a cake, and they cut it into pieces and you eat it. And then whoever has the piece that has the baby in it is supposed to make the cake the next year. And it's like
oh, really?
Yeah, it's like a traditional thing. I don't know the whole
you learn
history and story
cultural
behind
stuff
it.
in this podcast.
So, well, you learn the fact that I have no idea what I'm talking about, and I'm telling what I'm pretty sure.
The only reason I bring this up is
I guess I could probably look it up.
You can sell pretty much anything on eBay. And it's a strong reminder of when you get a haul, don't discount the things that you do not have knowledge about. You know, we're going to drop this how to learn a new niche mini-sode on Monday.
I am right. It is a Mardi Gras thing.
Okay, it is a Mardi Gras thing. Okay, so that's when people went on King Cake. So I posted on Instagram. Oh, yeah. It was one of those babies.
Yep.
But $30 for, that's just okay.
I mean, you're getting, because you got the high quality ones. You weren't just getting, cheap. I mean, somebody's going to bite into their cake and be like, ooh, I've got the baby. And they're going to be like, ooh,
okay,
this is like
these babies
vintage.
were in a Lego box from the 1960s, man.
Hopefully they're washed well before they're put in the cake.
Anyways, don't discount what you get on a haul. Don't throw it away. Just do a quick look up because you never know what you'll have. So
if you celebrate Mardi Gras and you know a lot about the king cake tradition, let us know in the comments below.
Are we going to title this Selling Babies?
Oh gosh, no. That would be.
I think we're already shadow banned. That would even make it worse.
Yeah, it's bad.
All right. So do you have any random stories?
So I mentioned last update episode, I think it was last update episode, that I had 2 returns that were really bugging me. One was a pair of boots that the person said they didn't fit, and they gave me an INAD because they didn't fit well. And they said, oh, also there was a couple scuffs, but that's not real. It was the fact that it didn't fit, and they gave me an INAD. But it took them like 2.5 weeks to return it. So I thought for sure, like, oh, they're going to forget. And then same thing with the PSP game. I sold a PSP game, and I mentioned that it was like the person rented it from me because they said, oh, bought this on accident. I don't have a PSP. Well, then why were you looking at PSP games? Like, I have a feeling they played it for a couple of days and they're like, man, let's send it back. So they sent the game back. And again, I thought it wasn't going to come. They waited a couple of weeks before they sent it back, and it finally came back. Well, the day it came back, we did the relist, and it sold within a couple of hours to somebody else. So it's just kind of a random in that sense of, man, what a bummer that this thing sold. Who knows how long this PSP game is going to sit on the shelf again now that this person sent it back. And then the day we get it back, it sells again. It was like, sweet. We could just, yep, it's there. Put it back in the case, put a different label on, send it back out the door. So that was kind of cool. And then the other thing, man, is it FedEx. We normally ship through UPS if we're doing something big.
Love the UPS discount these days.
Yeah, but FedEx was cheaper when we sent a big camera. So we had a big, like $500 plus sell, and FedEx was the cheapest way to ship it. And so we shipped it FedEx, and we live in Southern California, and this thing is going to like middle of California. Okay. So not that far.
Yeah.
Maybe closer to Northern California, but still same state. We sent this thing. It's going on like 8 days ago now. We sent it out. It's in California for a while. Went up to like Northern California. Guess where it's been the last 3 days? Pennsylvania.
Oh, I hate it when that happens.
Pennsylvania. How is that? Like, who in their right mind was like, this has to go like another hour north of here. Put her on a plane to Pennsylvania. Like, there's no way that makes sense. Like, and if it was an accident, like they should have been same day. It should have, when they scanned it, they should have been, put it on the return flight back. What? How is it in Pennsylvania? And why is it stuck there? And why does it say on their tracking, no estimated delivery date? Like, they should be like, oh, this is priority. Let's get it to where it needs to be. Pennsylvania. So let us know in the comments below what's, and we've had lots of these before. Sometimes
I've had some show up in Guam, and it's supposed to be in Georgia.
Go to like another country.
Yeah.
So let us know in the comments below what's been a fun or not so fun detour that one of your items has made on its way to its final destination. And one of the reasons I'm so mad about this, because not only is it a big sale, and the person is probably upset because it's like, it should have been here by now. So that looks bad on me, even though I shipped it on time. The other thing that's frustrating about it is we packed it really well, but the longer it's in shipping, the more chance it can get damaged.
Yes, agreed.
And that just makes me mad because it's a $500 item. It should have been like, hey, this is just gonna it'll be there in 2 days. It's gonna be on a couple of trucks, and then it's there. I bet you this thing has been on a bunch of trucks, a bunch of airplanes. It probably got dropped because it got put in the wrong pile. It just frustrating.
There you go. Sorry.
That's my It's my rant. It's my rave. It's my random story.
All right. Well, something that does ship on time is American Bowl Boy.
Yeah.
And so, lately I've been selling bigger items and I've needed bubble wrap, and it's just been great. Monday, I already know that at this rate by Friday, I'm going to need bubble wrap. And with the 2-day shipping, if I order it Monday, I'm going to get it by Wednesday. And so if you haven't checked out American Bowl Boy, it is the best deal out there for bubble wrap. And they also have these Insta packs and a few other things there. So check them out in our link below. Use our link to purchase. It helps us out, helps you out. And they have free 2-day, next day shipping and also local pickup if they have one in your area. And they are constantly expanding. And they've been great. They've been good to us and they've been great to a lot of people. And so definitely check them out, AmericanBowlBoy.com. Also, if you haven't been following us on social media, we are Pure Hustle Podcast on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Our most active is Instagram. Our second most active is TikTok. I've actually been making TikToks that I like the TikTok community. It's just, what I find with the TikTok community is it's different than Instagram because people are able to do longer videos. And so I learn a lot. I mean, there's a few people on there that have like a BOLO of the day, and every day I'm learning something new. Like, this is pretty amazing. So check us out over there. And on Twitter, we are Pure Hustle Cast. Also, you can give us a call, 619-738-1170. That's 619-738-1170. Or you can shoot us an email, purehustlepodcast@gmail.com. It's purehustlepodcast@gmail.com. And if you have not seen our bald and bearded mugs, you can jump on over to YouTube. We're almost at 7K, hoping to get to 10K by the end of the year here in subs. So jump on over, hit that follow button, subscribe, and also that like, and smash that bell notification so you know when the next episode is going to be appearing, especially our minisodes. And maybe, one day we'll get back to garage sales and all that. I find right now that there's so much listing and reselling I'm trying to do. Eventually I'll get to do on a YouTube that's, out of the ordinary podcast. And also thank you to all of you that give us iTunes reviews. It definitely helps us in the algorithm. I just want to share a few of these. I always want to keep it real. So I got negative and I got 2 positive ones here.
Let's do it.
All right. So this negative comes from Kelkel232323 and said, too much about trying to take. I've listened to this show for a while now. It seems that it's more about how to give Mike and Orlando money and less about reselling. We get it. You use American Bubble Boy and Skull Shaver, and now you have a Patreon. You brag about how much you flip a Hot Wheels for 1 minute, and the next ask for money. Just getting annoyed with the hour-long commercial instead of content.
I'm not going to defend ourselves on this in that sense, but I feel like we have a lot of content, and there's in the episode maybe a couple of minutes where we talk about our sponsors
out of an hour plus podcast.
But I understand because we spread it out that it might feel like that. Every so often it's like, oh, they're sponsoring something again. Whereas like if you listen to some, if you're like a really big podcaster, they'll have like 20 minutes of ads before the podcast starts.
Oh yeah, that's the
all pre-roll, and so you just fast forward.
Like Joe Rogan on Spotify.
Hey, you fast forward like 10 or 15 minutes, then you get actually the episode starts, which, is, I guess, a little easier than, they're starting another ad. I'm going to fast forward a little bit. But honestly, it is the way it is. If you're a reseller, you understand how business goes. And, we spend
time is valuable.
Hours and hours and hours every week on the podcast because we love doing it and we love the community. But also it costs money for us to put up a lot of this stuff, our servers, the software we use to edit stuff, the cameras we use, the memory, it costs money, and it costs money and time. So thank you to those of you who support us. And if you don't find that it's worth supporting, if you don't feel like you want to pay money or buy one of the things that we advertise, you don't have to. You can just listen and consume and be part of the community. Totally fine. And if you absolutely can't stand our content, the beautiful thing is there's other content out there. So
there is. That is good though. All right. Hey, I want to say, let's end on a light note. This is from eBan5. So it's kind of like a play on words, maybe. No, it's not. But it said authentic and funny. I just started listening and I'm inspired to start reselling. Awesome.
Nice.
This podcast brings a lot of good advice, and including the downside, which we want to keep it real. I know it does seem like the last few episodes have been like inflation, recession, all these different things. But we just got to keep it real. I mean, this is a documentary podcast. We're not gurus. We don't have it all together.
When we were going through the 2020 nonsense, a lot of our content had to do with that. When we're going through summer, a lot of our content has to do with summer slowdown. When we're going through Q4, a lot of our content has to do with, Christmas Q4 sales.
How great things are going.
Yeah, so it's just going to be whatever's happening in the environment. So we thank you for listening, and we do try and keep it real.
Yeah, I appreciate
ups and downs for sure.
Yeah, they said please stay real and talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly of reselling. Well, thank you, Ivan. I appreciate you.
There is a lot of good though. If you're thinking about reselling, please don't get overwhelmed. There is a lot of good.
Good far outweighs the bad. All right, and last one. This is from John D. Cognac, bald and bearded. I always love it when they mention the bald or beard. It's going in the right direction. So, all right, let me read this real quick if I can scroll my phone over to it. Oh, man. Okay. All right. So they said, great podcast, guys. Huge fan, and you have been a huge help to someone who has just stepped down from salary to hourly and reselling. Only thing is, my wife thinks I am only a fan of you both because we look alike. Awesome.
Another doppelganger. Welcome
doppelganger. Because we look alike. I had your YouTube channel. I appreciate you checking us on YouTube.
Hey, you know what? You're a handsome man, obviously. So
you guys have to incorporate bald and bearded into your merch when you sell it. Keep it up. I don't know if we sell it, we might be just taken, but we'll throw it on there. Hey, thanks so much, John D. Cognac. Thank you to all of you that take the time to jump on over and not only give the 5 stars, but also write a review so people know what they're looking for. So greatly appreciated. All right, are we ready to talk about some things here?
eBay's got automatic payment coming. Are we sure? Target is cutting prices on inventory due to oversupply, and we've got BOLOs coming up.
Yeah.
Orlando, take it away.
So we don't have a lot of resellers. There isn't a ton out there right now. And that's kind of typical in summer. Usually there's not a lot of releases or a lot of stuff out there, but a couple of things I wanted to talk about. So I just listened to the June stockholders meeting with eBay. And it's always interesting when you catch those, it's not something that I say, hey, if you're a reseller, you need to, tune in, but I like tuning in just, for the fact that I want to keep everyone updated. But there's a few things that Jamie, I always mess up his name. Ione. Okay. Jamie, I appreciate you. And one thing they said, stuck out to me and said that before he was on board, that eBay was headed in the direction of trying to be the brand that sells new in-season products. And I remember that because I remember I got my eBay Open shirt on from 2019, and I remember that was a big thing. We were trying to be like Amazon. We were going to do this thing called managed delivery, which was eBay FBA, and that thing died. And, there was going to be and it's still there, but where people, if they buy something from you, they can go back and buy from you again, kind of like on Amazon. So for example, my thermal labels, whenever I need new ones, I just go, it'll just point me to the same individual I bought it from before, and I'll just buy from them again. And so eBay was going to do that. But see, with eBay, that doesn't work unless you're selling new items. And had mentioned that in this last, report, last quarter earnings, that 90% of their GMV, that's their gross merchandise value, the stuff that they're selling through, was non-new items. And so I think eBay is trying to change. And this kind of, hearing this from Jamie, he gave me a positive outlook on his leadership. And I've always been a fan of Jordan Sweetholm, which hopefully one day, if you're listening, Jordan, it'd be awesome to have you on the podcast. You'll be the first guest back if we start doing interviews again. Because I what I like is there's people from, I would say, the golden era of eBay that are coming back. I mean, not like Meg Whitman. I mean, remember Meg Whitman? She ran for governor in California back in the day. And eBay, I think, is going back to its roots. I do think, as I said, eBay still has a lot to work on as far as right now. There's, different companies like Whatnot and others that are competing for market share. But it was just encouraging to hear that. And the discouraging part was that the language again that was being used was that we are working on making sure that buyers pay right away for their items. And I'm kind of like, we said that in winter. And we said that in spring, and now we're in summer and we're still not there yet. And I don't know if you guys have caught this, you're getting different messages on eBay. I don't know. Have you seen this, Mike, yet about the automatic payment? So right now, if you don't have this yet, you usually get, you got an offer. We'll alert the buyer to pay you and accept their offer, and you'll get paid within 4 days. Super frustrating, right? But the new one now has been, you got an offer. Buyer pre-selected a payment method. So you'll get paid now if you accept their offer.
It seems like almost the way they're trying to soft launch this or to beta test it is to see, will customers respond positively to this? And right now, if you're putting an offer on something, this might just be like a negotiating strategy for the customer. So they're thinking, hey, if I select prepayment, there's more of a chance that they'll take the offer. Because if you get an offer and it's, you know, maybe a little lower than you want, but you see on there that they've selected prepayment and you're like, that's guaranteed cash, you might be a little bit more willing to take it than if it's like, well, if I accept this offer that's already lower than I want, and then I have to sit here for a few days and hope they pay me and they're holding my item hostage. So,
but if you're an experienced seller, that's not an issue because you want to trigger the algorithm, so you'll accept a decent offer with the risk that they may not pay right away.
Yeah, but even so, what I'm saying though is if you're like on the fence, if you're like, this is a little bit lower than I would take, but it has instant payment, you're more likely to take it.
But why do we even have to have that? You know, again, that takes time.
Yeah. But I think I understand why this would be like a soft launch for eBay to kind of test it out is, will customers select it? If more than 50% of their customers are willing to do this already, they're like, sure, I'll select the payment method if they accept my offer, then they know that they're headed in the right direction. But if only like 5% of their customers are willing to do that, then they might be like, let's put the brakes on this because it got to be. I mean, the only thing I could think the reason, because in my opinion, there's two reasons why this hasn't rolled out yet. One, the infrastructure, the IT aspect of it, what it's going to take for them to do, maybe even legal aspect of it, the legal infrastructure. Or two, it's a fear that it's going to negatively impact the customer's opinion of buying on eBay. Those are really the only two reasons why this hasn't rolled out, at least in my opinion. There could be another reason. Let us know in the comments below if you think it's something else. But I could understand if they instantly just rolled this out and a bunch of customers got upset and they're like, well, no, I didn't know that it never did this in the past. I've offered hundreds of times on items and it's never done this.
I've hundreds of times not paid.
Yeah. But you know what I'm saying? Like they might upset some customers, or people might be like, no, I'm not going to put an offer because then that's holding up my money. Because maybe I want to put an offer on 2 or 3 different things and see if they get accepted. But if I have to wait a couple of days for this person, if they're going to answer me, it's almost like we're holding their money hostage. You know, if you've got 24 hours to accept an offer.
But you're not. I mean, this is the counter to that is that this is industry standard.
Yes and no. I mean, it is industry.
What other company, Mike, do you know that you can say, here's my offer, but I and then they accept it and you're like, I don't know if I'm going to pay.
Secondhand market is different though, because that is kind of the case on OfferUp. It's kind of the case at garage sales. It's kind of the case.
No, it's cash in hand.
Right. But you can say like, would you take 20 for this? And if they're like, yes, they don't rip the 20 out of your hand. You can kind of look it over a little bit. But you know what? Hold on. Let me look at some other stuff. And then how about 25 if I add this? So you haven't automatically given them the money yet.
So to play devil's advocate, then we should have the option to cancel a transaction if we just don't want to do it. Instead of penalizing us for out of stock or damaged, we should be able to back out, right? No questions asked.
No,
because if a buyer can back out, no questions asked, shouldn't we be able to back out as a seller?
No, I don't know. I mean, because I get it. And again,
Either they're binding contracts or they're not.
Yeah, but the buyer and the seller is different, right? Like if you go to Target and you buy something, and then let's say you're doing with the curbside pickup, and they say, you know what, we're not actually going to bring this to you. I mean, it's a little bit harder as them as opposed to you canceling. Or you could bring something up to a register. If you brought it up to the register and the cashier was like, nope, I'm not selling this to you. It's a little bit more
with Target. So for example, I do Target delivery all the time now. Like I never step foot in a Target, and have my many reasons. Check us out on Instagram to find out. But on Target, the moment I buy something online, it automatically charges my credit card. Now, if I don't, and I've done this before, where I've bought something and I didn't show up and pick it up, and Target would refund me. Okay, so there is, and let us know in the comments. Let us know your thoughts on this. I don't think there is any other company that allows you to purchase something and then it gives you time to pay.
But
and
the
then
thing with an offer is it's not a purchase. So like, that's what I mean. It's a gray area. And again,
but it says they agreed to pay this amount.
I get that. And I understand. And believe me, I want instant payment. I'm not saying I don't, but I'm trying to put myself in the customer's position. And let's say I'm like, I really want to get whatever, this certain type of water bottle that's like vintage and it's rare. And there's 3 different sellers that have it and they're all asking more than I want. So I'm going to ask this person if they'll take this offer. As a buyer, I might be like, maybe I'll give this offer to 2 people or all 3 of them.
Oh, that happens all the time.
And I understand that because if I give my offer to one and I have to wait 24 hours and then they don't respond, and then I give the next one and I wait 24 hours and they decline it, and then I give my third, but by the time I get to the third one, it's already sold. It's like, well, I missed my chance because I had my money like almost being held hostage because what if they took the offer? Whereas if you can do multiple, because I understand why it's almost like as a customer. Are
you one of those people that like sends out multiple offers and then you tell people I found it cheaper? I'm just joking. I'm giving you a hard time.
No, I'm not saying I do that. I don't, but I would understand if I was a customer and I really wanted something, because there's times I do that on OfferUp, right? If I'm really looking for something, I'm looking for, I don't know, Pokemon cards, for instance, and there's 3 different people selling Pokemon cards. I'm going to give it an offer. Now
but
imagine
if you buy, but on OfferUp, if you buy something that requires shipping, if you offer a certain amount, it automatically charges you. It doesn't let you get out of it. You have to like jump hoops to get out of it.
On an offer? I don't know. I've never done offers 100% on shipping.
Every single time.
I'm just saying, like, as a customer, I'm more used to being able to do like questions back and forth on if it's secondhand stuff. Like, would you take this much for it? What if you did this much? Like, there's a little bit more negotiating in it. I wouldn't necessarily assume that if I said on OfferUp, hey, would you take $30 for this item? That all of a sudden they've ripped the money out of my Venmo. I'm like, wait a minute, like I haven't.
But
even
if it's
confirmed.
something that's shipped, it will.
Right, and fair enough. I'm not saying that eBay is.
I hear where you're coming from. I just think this is one of the things that turns a lot of people away from being a seller on eBay.
My worry, and the reason again, like I say, it's either infrastructure for eBay, why they haven't released this yet, or they're thinking through. And I've got to imagine they've got best interest of eBay.
Yeah, I don't think they're making a something just randomly one day.
So to me, my thought is, if this happens, if they're like, tomorrow we're pushing on our new update, it's automatically the moment somebody sends an offer, they get it. If eBay sees a 10 to 15% drop in their customer base, or even a 3% drop in their customer base, because people are so upset, because you got to imagine the reason why people talk about eBay is eBay has a lot of the older generation still using it. They're not using Poshmark and other things. So they're used to doing things a certain way. And if all of a sudden eBay changes something that drastic for customers, even if it's only 3 to 4% of the customers leave, that could impact us as sellers, and it would definitely impact eBay. Right. So if I were to say, hey, I lose because of people not paying on offers about 1% of my sales that I do every month, I don't get paid by somebody who kind of holds my item hostage by not paying on an offer. But if I end up losing 2 to 3% of my sales because customers have left eBay and eBay has a huge drop in its customer base, I'd rather lose the 1% than the 3%.
Yeah, see, I'd rather lose those buyers because the time I waste. So for example, somebody offers me and I accept and they don't pay. And, I have certain time. I like to get stuff out on time, fast shipping. And then I'm waiting and then I get in my car and then out of nowhere, they pay. Right. And so I have 18 minutes and it takes me 15 minutes to get to the post office. Then I got to make that call. Do I go back in my place, find that item, pack it, ship it out? Do I print the label? Let's say I have it all packed out. Do I go in there and get the label, or do I just wait till tomorrow? Right. Or there's just, if somebody doesn't pay, having a message, there's a lot of mental time that is lost in this. And so I like the idea that, hey, things sell. Don't even have to stress about it. They paid. That's good. I mean, we all, I think, can agree the best sales are the ones where there's no offer and it's automatic payment. Right. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. I hope they come through on their word, though. Yep.
Again, right. I want it. Please don't anybody post and say, I don't understand why Mike doesn't want instant payment. I want instant payment. I just have to believe that there must be thinking through possible downfalls to us, because there's going to be a number for you where you wouldn't want it. Right. If it's a 15% impact on your business,
Yeah, I
it's a 20%
agree.
impact,
I
right?
agree.
There's a number where it's like, okay, they should have never done this. This destroyed eBay.
Let's put it this way. I think there's a lack of trust in the fact that we've been given a bunch of not credible answers as to why it's not in place. Even face to face, we were told certain things that didn't even make sense, and we were asked to accept it. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Well, basically, they said it's because they weren't a money processing. And it's true. They were just the broker.
Except now there's managed payments.
Now there's managed payments.
Okay.
So yeah, at the time though, it was
the thing was once we get managed payments, it's going to happen.
Yep.
That was what we were told directly. Once managed payments happen, we will pay directly, and it never happened.
We're getting the runaround. We are getting the runaround.
All right, enough of that. We've talked too much. All right. Hey, I wanted to land here for a moment. I said this twice already. So Target, they slashed their prices. Did you go out to a Target and see if you can get any deals?
Not yet.
So I didn't. I don't like Target, but Target said they're going to slash their prices because of their inventory glut. Okay, and so they said record high rates of inflation. This is from a news report from Axios. The year's already been tough for Target, which is trying to adjust to a new economic reality. Record rates of inflation cooled consumer demand and prompted people to rethink their purchases. Target says it plans to cut prices and cancel orders as it tries to right-size its stock for the rest of the year. As a result, the company says now expects smaller margins for the current quarter, 2% than the 5% they expected. However, Target still maintains that its operating margins for the last 6 months of the year will come in at a rate that exceeds pre-pandemic levels. Okay, so they're obviously looking for a winding down business. The reason I bring this up is, and I wish I brought the other story, but there's an obscene amount of ships around Shanghai and all these places of trade and, you know, where cargo goes through that have still not left or made it to the States. And I think Target dealing with this is just the beginning, I think, of a ridiculous amount of inventory that's going to show up here.
Yeah. Part of it is an issue of timing, because we understand as resellers how important timing is. You get certain items, especially Q4. It's like these items have to go. Like I literally have like a couple of days between the time I get it and it's at its peak price and it's got to go and I've got to get it out of my house because it's taking up space. Imagine how big companies feel. I mean, they have to kind of project how many cans of soup are going to sell at certain times of the year and how many types of outdoor furniture. And a store like Target has so many different things that they have to kind of manage inventory wise. It's incredible the amount of computer or mind power that goes into like the algorithms to make sure they have the right stuff. So I know people who work pretty high up at like Home Depot, for instance, and during the whole shipping issue of ships being stuck and people not getting things in time, where they were getting like Christmas trees after Christmas, like the artificial Christmas trees. And those companies expect to get them a little bit before to sell them and to not have very much. Whatever they have left over, they clearance out. Well, if you get the bulk of it in January or February, what do you do with that stuff? And so that's part of it too, is it's not even so much that, well, you know, they'll get the inventory eventually and then they could just sell it. Well, a lot of it is time sensitive. And so, yeah, if a certain time part of the year, I would imagine, because I know one of the things Target is talking about slashing is like big electronics. Well, I would imagine it's the like Super Bowl for TVs, and even like tax returns is like right around that time when people are going out and buying new TVs. Well, if their shipment came in after that, or they kept getting shipments that they hoped they had earlier, what do you do with all that stuff? They can't hold it forever. They've got to get the next stuff in. So yeah, I think it's a combination of several things happening in the economy at once. One, the still issues with shipping. Things are not caught up. We're still a little off season with certain things. So that's part of the problem. And two, people are spending less. If people are paying as much as they're paying right now for things like gas and food, I think one of the recent things I read is the average household is like paying $500 more just to like have the exact same lifestyle that they had this time last year.
I agree.
So if you're losing $500 a month, you're not going and buying the Nintendo Switch games, and you're not buying the new TV, and you're not buying those things, which you might have bought if you weren't paying that much more. So it's interesting because you could say like, oh, well, prices are going down. See, isn't that a good thing? It's like, well, prices will go down on luxury things because there's no demand for it because people can't afford it.
Yeah, and the reason I bring this up is to be super careful if you're selling new items. And granted, you know, this last Huge markdown at Target was mainly, patio furniture, kitchen equipment, and some other goods for the home. But who knows? Like we have no idea. I will say, this last Q4, Ross was still stocked, and Marshalls and TJ Maxx and all the RA stores, the Walmart, Target. But you could be caught in a scenario where you think, you have this hot item, and in a week that could go south really fast. And so just be careful. Just be careful with the new items. Again, I think I'm leaning more towards secondary items for this Q4, just because of the way the economy is playing out, just because of this overabundance of inventory that we really do not know. We have no idea. I mean, it could be such a overabundance of stuff that toys that you'd be able to sell on Amazon, generally pay 10 and sell it for 50, that those days might not happen this year. That might skip a year, or because the economy's down and people, like you said, have less money. And on top of that, there's so much more of an item that may not be the case. So just be aware of that. Just be careful. And that is the reseller topics.
Yeah.
You ready to talk about what people really want to hear about?
That's right. BOLO.
What's your BOLO?
Yeah, we should at the start of the episode say, make sure to stay tuned till the end so you get our BOLOs, the items you should be picking up.
And then people just
skip forward.
Well,
the nice thing is we're so lazy that we don't like timestamp our stuff on YouTube. So they'd have to scrub through everything, and they might as well at that point just listen to it.
There you go. So what's your BOLO?
All right. So my BOLO, I actually sold one of these, and it was a long tail item. I had it for a long time, but I picked it up super cheap at a thrift store. Was a vintage Presto burger machine, like a burger skillet, like an old school one.
Presto one, huh?
Presto. And it's interesting because Presto is like a brand that I feel like I see a lot at thrift stores. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times there's books that come with it. And Presto, I mean, I don't know a lot about kitchen stuff. I need to look this up a little bit more. But I was shocked as I'm like, oh, this actually sold for pretty good money. I made I probably paid like $3 for this thing, and it sold for like $45.
Wow.
And so then I'm looking up other Presto things that are selling. And I'm telling you, if you're finding like old Presto electric knives, can openers, bread slicers, skillets, pressure cookers, the manuals for these, like there is a market for people looking for old Presto kitchen stuff.
Interesting.
And it's weird because today you can easily go on Amazon and probably buy something that's twice as good for half the price. But I get the fact that if you're older generation, my thing stopped working. I really love this one. This is my best can opener. I've had this can opener since the 70s or the 80s. What am I going to do? I'm going to go on eBay and get another one of these can openers. And so there is a market for some reason for some of these older, and maybe, again, I'm not a kitchen person. So if you're like hardcore into cooking, maybe let me know, is some of the older stuff like higher quality? Is it better to have a Presto burger cooker than to have a George Foreman grill, right? When you can get those dirt cheap at new on Amazon, like why pay $45 for an old
unless you find the one that Michael Scott ended up getting injured on.
Yeah.
Remember that episode?
Yeah.
That's so good. Fab, I need help. All right. Hey, so my BOLO, I wanted to wait a little bit because at first I picked up a ton of vintage spray paint at a garage sale, and I didn't know how well it was going to do. And then I missed out on an opportunity. There was another garage sale. I picked up, I don't know, this isn't the BOLO, but I picked up maybe 20 to 30 pairs of Miss Me jeans. And those actually sell.
Yeah, they do. They sell.
I didn't think they would sell, but it was so cheap. I was like, why not? And I'm glad. And I picked up a bunch of cowboy boots where I'm going to make probably a couple K on those. And then I missed out on the spray paint because I was too focused on getting those items before anybody else saw them. And then somebody offered on the spray paint. And so I was like, and I remember looking some of this up. Well, all the spray paint that I bought from the previous garage sale before that has pretty much sold out pretty quick. And the reason I held on buying the vintage spray paint is I didn't know two things. How do I list it? Right? If it's used, like, how do you figure that out? How do you tell somebody how much has been used? And then how do you ship it? So I figured that out. So if you find vintage spray paint, always look it up. And if you're trying to figure out to show how much is being used, what I did is I took my scale and I put the spray paint on top. I took the cap off. I put the spray paint on top and I said, amount of spray paint is determined by the weight on the scale. Please take a look. I guess that works, right? Because if something says it has I don't know, 16 ounces and it weighs in at 12.1 ounces. And I don't know, you can figure.
And you got to subtract the weight of the can. I mean, but
I've never had not one return, or all I've gotten is positive feedback.
That's good.
So it worked. The other one is how to ship. You can only ship stuff like this, like cologne and so on, anything flammable, parcel. Okay. Over USPS, and Primetime Treasure Hunter put out a great video. It's the only video I see out there, and you have to like write something on it, like OR something, surface mail or whatever. And he did a really great video. I mean, I could have been shady and just copied his video and made our own, got it views, but I feel like giving him credit for this. So check out his video, but just made it really easy. The key thing is, you have to put it in some kind of Ziploc, some kind of sealed bag, and then you bubble wrap it. Then you put cardboard, and then you float it. And then you got to write that on the box, and you're good to go. So it wasn't a huge money maker. I paid $2, and I was selling each can for, 16 to 18 bucks plus shipping, but it wasn't too bad. So, but there are some cans I saw, and I've seen others on Instagram that sell for 50 to 60 bucks used.
It's amazing.
So definitely check out Vintage Spray Paint.
I like it.
All right, so I'm gonna confess here.
Let's chill a little bit.
Oh yeah, let's chill a little bit.
Let's be a commercial.
Let's first talk about how gross it's been for me in reality, because I've not been able to shower for days.
Yeah, I was gonna say I need to scoot over a little bit, but
and the reason being is there's been some septic tank issues where I'm at, so can't use the water, and they can't figure it out. But you know what? I did shower for the podcast.
I appreciate that.
But before that, I was able to keep my head fresh and clean with my skull shaver.
Yeah, skull shaver.
So it's been great because skull shaver can give you that clean look when you may not be clean.
Yeah.
So go to skullshaver.com, use the link below, use their promo code HUSTLE, HUSTL, and get that clean, bald look.
There's an E in hustle.
Did I say E?
No.
Oh, capital HUSTLE, hustle.
In case you didn't know how to spell hustle.
In case you didn't know. But our audience is pretty intelligent.
That's right.
I think they knew that. All right. So, what are you looking forward to?
So, like I mentioned, this coming weekend is Father's Day. It's also my birthday this weekend. So I'm excited for that. And it's the end of the school year. Like my birthday is the last day of school, which is annoying because I never had school as a kid on my birthday. So now I do as an adult, which is it's a bummer. But anyways, after this weekend, I'm going to be going to Arizona to visit some family. And I'm going to be there for almost a week. And it's fun. I like doing road trips, doing a road trip with my family. But anytime I do these road trips, one of my favorite things to do, I get bored at the thrift stores around me because you know them. Even if you got a honey hole, even if there's one that's like really good, you almost lose that like when you were innocent and new and reselling and you walk into a thrift store for the first time and you got no idea and you're looking at stuff. So I kind of like going to new thrift stores on like road trips and things like that, because you kind of get to go in with fresh eyes. You have no idea what the store's weakness is, what their strengths are, if it's a good store or not. So you kind of just get to be naive, and sometimes it's a huge win, sometimes it's not. And I don't spend a lot of time doing these on family vacations, but you stop in at 3 or 4 thrift stores over the course of a week. A lot of times your whole trip is paid for. Mm-hmm. So I'm looking forward to seeing some new thrift stores, seeing some, because a lot of times whatever market you're in, you don't even realize, you don't even see certain items because the other resellers are just soaking them up.
Yeah.
But then you go somewhere else and you're like, wow, I've never seen one of these before. And there's a whole bunch of them here. Or maybe that area, that location, that's more of a popular item. So yeah, I'm interested to see new items, new stores, and hopefully have my trip paid for.
Nice.
What about you? What are you looking forward to?
Oh, it's not. Well, I got one that's really the worst and another one that's exciting. So let's go with the worst. I need to transfer myself from GoDaddy to somewhere. It's about that time. I'm looking at QuickBooks. I think somebody else had mentioned Reselling Genie. Let us know in the comments if you use these. I think a lot of people said QuickBooks. I haven't heard anybody say anything about Reselling Genie, but I'm just not looking into it. But it's a perfect time because I'm finalizing my taxes, to finally file them here. I think I have until October or something. I forget what the extension is still, but
by the time you pay your taxes this time, you'll be ready to pay them again next year.
I know. Awesome. But I'm just not looking forward to it. Here's the thing. I am terrible about, doing the bookkeeping stuff. When I go to GoDaddy, I get anxiety. And so it's about time. I need to fix that finally. But on the positive side, I have a sweet pick, I think. And so lately my picks have been like American pickers. So somebody contacted me through my classes that I teach. Somebody was related to some of these awesome students that I have. And they said, hey, we have a bunch of stuff. We heard you're a reseller, don't know what we want to do. They brought up consignment. They brought up me buying it all. I don't know where we're going to land, but I'm driving up. And the stuff that they had was really, really cool stuff. Vintage toys, just a bunch of vintage, just awesome stuff. And so looking forward to picking through all that, and hopefully I'll have a good haul. So if you haven't followed us on Instagram, check us out on Instagram. In the next few days, I'll be doing that. And hopefully it'll be worth it. We'll see what happens. So
yeah.
All right. Hey, thank you for tuning in. Thank you to all of you that are always so good to us. Make sure to smash that like button. Thank you to all of you that listen to us on the podcast, and all of you that support us on Patreon. Always grateful for every single one of you, whether you pay or you don't pay. And with that being said, make sure to be real,
Be relevant,
and be reselling late.
Peace.